This is crazy, man. We look so young here, man. Shout out to Jules, Julian. Shout out to Gael, Bruce, A-Bent, John, Justin. He's still playing, yo. Shout out to Justin. He's over there in Germany doing his thing, yo. Mad love for that guy right there. Still doing it. Ryan. Who's that? Big Mo, Alberta, Jerome, Chris. Who's this over there? Eyes are going on me. Craig, Mckeyra, Yoshi, Chris Hibbert, and Alex, man. Alex Malari, bro. Like, this is the squad right here, man. And the coaches, Mr. Burrows, Rich, and Bob, man. My name is Papa Oppong, and this is Hollywood North.
The sixth pick in the second round of the 2011 NBL Canada Draft, Halifax select Papa Oppong from Eastern Kentucky.
So, Papa, tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm pretty much, just like an everyday guy, low key. Not really into the whole hype stuff. Just kind of, go about my business, with the close people that I know. I just kind of, live life every day, and try to make the best of it.
How was it growing up in Malvern?
For me, growing up in Malvern was just like, I don't know, it was everything to me, That's the only thing I kind of knew at one point. Malvern was all I knew, just my surroundings, the way people talk, the everyday lifestyle. That's just after a long period of time in my life, that's all I knew. And it definitely has a lot to do with who I am today and what I'm, what I aspire to be. I got a lot of goals and I've seen a lot of things growing up there that, have me, motivated to do better things and motivated to push forward for the next chapter in my life.
What was it like going to Mother Teresa and being a Titan?
Well, anybody who's from Malvern that played ball knew that Mother Teresa was the school to go to. We only had two schools, Mother Teresa and Pearson, and Mother Teresa was definitely known across the city from the history of from basketball. So going there and actually being from Malvern and actually doing well there, was amazing. As far as going there, you kind of. I still remember the first day I walked in there was just like like I'm here. I looked into the back of the atrium and like all the older guys or the older heads were just chilling down there. And it was just like it was a feeling that it was like I arrived. And not just being there, it was always like you kind of look at the older guys and you look at the guys who are already there, who already made their name, and it was just something like I want to be that guy. And in particular when I first got there, Keyon Anderson was was that guy when I got there, and he was another guy from Malvern and lived in Malvern and I saw him at the rec center and all that kind of stuff. So just to see him in the school and seeing the kind of control he had over the school was like I was like, yeah, that's he's the man. I want to aspire to be something like that or even better when it's my turn. MT was MT, man. MT, a lot of highs and lows and a lot of good things, a lot of bad things, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And as far as being a Titan, it's a brotherhood, and it doesn't stop after high school. Once a Titan, you're always a Titan. You find a way to connect. Like, even if you want to look at this right now, right? Like everyone in this room went to Mother Teresa, at one point, and we all interacted. And it's good to see how life after high school or whatever. How people, start to live a little bit, right? And definitely has always loved every time I see anybody from Mother Teresa that, I kind of messed with or played with or, kind of had some kind of interaction with, It's definitely a brotherhood and I definitely try to support whenever I can.
Tell us a little bit about AFSA history in your basketball days with Mother Teresa.
AFSA was probably like, I don't know, it was a good run. It was a good run for me. So my first year, my grade 11, 11th grade was my first year going to AFSA. We had guys on the team like Jamal Mullings. We had Justin Dennis on the team, Cedric Carter, Jadway Hemmings. Andre Bell. We had a bunch of guys on that team there, and we ended up finishing 4th. We lost in the semifinals to Kingston Frontenac. The year after that, my 12th grade year, we ended up going again, finishing 2nd. Same core guys that we had. It was Jadway Hemmings, Justin Dennis, Cedric Carter, Craig Nelson, and just a couple guys that were on the team. Donahue Lawrence, another guy that I grew up with in Malvern. Shout out to Donahue, doing big things on in Alberta right now. I'm proud of that guy. So we went out there, we finished 2nd, and then obviously the last year, my last run was the time, to kind of solidify it. And that year alone, with the team, we had a lot of trials and tribulations and stuff like that kind of happened. Lost one of my mentors growing up that same year, Sean Rose. Shout out to Blue. He's been my guy. Rest in peace, bro. But it was a lot of stuff we went through that year. But it was the year that I feel like it was our time. All of us, we've been there a couple times, and we definitely went to OFSA, and we did what we came to do. Anything less than a championship would have been, a failure to us. And then everybody was locked in from game 1, where we played Bayview. Game 2, we played Northern. And then in the semifinals, we played, quarterfinals, we played Pickering High. We played guys like DeVoe Joseph, Stephen Lopez, Marcus Wong, just to name a few. But it was definitely our year. We did well in that, beat them. And then in the finals, we played West Hill, which was so sweet because it was another Scarborough school. It wasn't Malvern, but it was like Scarborough. So the 2 best Scarborough schools, Mother Teresa and West Hill, has always been debate. We played them in the finals where they had guys like Kyle Johnson wasn't on that team that year. It was Dane Smith, Dwayne Smith, Javal Miles. I can't remember the other guys' names, but there's a couple of those guys where we ended up winning by 30. Just to put it down, I never lost to West Hill ever, you know what I mean? So that's one school that I've never ever lost to. So if we want to talk about bragging rights in Scarborough, we have that MT, definitely, we do our thing over there. But it was good, it was good. It was definitely the whole year of all the stuff that was going down. To end it off that year with with a win was definitely was positive. That year was definitely the start of the year was a special year for me too. Birth of my daughter, it was very big, and just to have that year, everything was going well, and it was good. It was good for us, and I really learned a lot. We grew, we took some L's in the year, we fought. A lot of people don't really see that, we look so close, a close bunch. But there's been times in practice where, we kicked off. Me and Justin, that's probably one of my best friends. We definitely had some squirrels and confrontation, but it's all love because we were all wanted one goal, right? We all wanted to win. We all wanted to be better. So, every day we pushed each other, and it was just really great, to kind of finally get over the hump and get that OFSA championship. It's the only team in MT history to win 4A OFSA. Shout out to my guys.
What would you say some of your greatest achievements were throughout your years in high school?
Well, my biggest achievement, or I guess achievement, was definitely becoming a father. That's life changing. Even though I was real young, it definitely changed my life and my way of thinking. And I wouldn't change it for the world. Winning OFSA championship was definitely good. It was like. Man, it was a great feeling coming back to the hood and having that OFSA gold, going into the rec center and everyone's like, yo, you guys have it. I remember before we went up there, Blue, before we left, the first thing he said was like, not before we went up there, a couple months before he passed, he was like, don't come back with that platinum, that fake silver, don't come back with that silver, we only want gold. So accomplishing that was, after he passed, I definitely know he was watching. And it was real good, it was definitely an accomplishment in high school that I definitely proud of to this day. I still brag about it to this day. And then obviously graduating high school, and it's as cliche or as simple as it seems. A lot of guys that I grew up with, didn't even graduate from high school. So, that was an accomplishment. I know at a point in time, parents didn't really know what was going on with me, but I did it, you know, and that was, you know, an accomplishment that I still hold to this day.
Now, after high school and post-secondary, what would you say some of your most memorable achievements?
Or even that, like, you know, just leaving home in the beginning and like going to a whole different country for the first time and living away from your family. I come from a pretty big family, right? So leading and being the only one out there was definitely a learning curve. So even going out there and you know, just kind of, you know, finding my way out there was definitely an accomplishment in itself. You know, kind of just bringing what I know and you know, just putting it together was definitely an accomplishment. I would say when I got to Eastern Kentucky, one of my accomplishments, I finally got D1. I had to do the whole JUCO route. If you don't know my story, I had to go to JUCO for 2 years. At that time, they took out the SAT scores and the qualifications and all that. So my route was have to go 2 years of JUCO. So that definitely, doing the 2 years of JUCO, where it's literally a grind, because you about to have a bunch of teammates who are all aspiring to be D1 players too. So, you know, it becomes a little bit selfish, and, you know, and it's guys that are out there for themselves, but it's really a grind that I think really helped me and built me for other things, as far as like understanding that I have to, you know, kind of work for what I got to work for and kind of get through with that. And just the accomplishment of actually getting a D1 scholarship, you know, for a ride was definitely an accomplishment after high school. Something I always figured or always felt I could do. You know, I always believed that I was, you know, good enough to play on that D1 level, and to finally get there was definitely an accomplishment. And when getting there, you know, earning a starting spot and, you know, starting off playing real well, and all that was going good. Everything was looking on the up and up until my injury, and then you know, things kind of took a step back, you know, and you know, for the first time, you know, I kind of had to deal with, you know, having a surgery and not having the support of your family that's actually there. You know, you're out there with your teammates, but it's nothing like being home with your family and, you know, and having that kind of support when you're out there and going through some things. But, you know, overcoming that, you know, and finishing that, and then even playing pro for a couple, 3 years, that's an accomplishment. That's a win for me at the end of the day.
So moving on from there, I'd say, you know, coming out of Malvern and going D1 is an accomplishment in itself. But are there any challenges that you might have faced during those times that you may not have been able to stay optimistic or had a really low point?
Well, yeah, because like when you Malvern, you know, I brag about Malvern. Malvern is just, you know, the place for me, right? I have a special spot. But at the same time, there's times when you kind of like look and see, like, you know, is this all there is? You know, like, is this what my life's gonna end up with? You know, you hear about guys who've played before, or were, you know, quote unquote hood legends, and they were this and that, and it's just like, then you see them, you know, in Malvern, and it's like, you know, like you're still here. You know, like the goal is to kind of get out and then come back and give back, right? So, you know, with no shade or no diss to those guys that are, you know, that, you know, didn't make it out or didn't do anything on the basketball level with it. You know, everyone has their own path, and that's cool. But stuff like that, you know, and it's just, you know, anything, whenever you're doing anything good, you're gonna have a couple people that, you know, don't want you to win, you know, and there's gonna be people that want you to, you know, kind of stay where they are. They don't want to see one person get out, and then you have a bunch of people that support and want to see if one person gets out, everybody's happy, right? And I think I was that kind of story of, you know, kind of, you know, being raised and being one of those real Malvern kids that, you know, you would see at the rec center every day after school. You would see at Malvern Mall. You would see, you know, with his sunflower seeds outside the court in Empringham, right? Like you know, people saw that and always, you know, were positive. So, you know, just kind of seeing some of the guys that never made it out, some guys that, you know, didn't even make it to you know, see, you know, their 16th birthday. You know, it's kind of hard, you know, and it's also a blessing that if you can get out and show up. So just kind of seeing people close to you, or, you know, people pass and stuff like that, it's definitely challenging. Or being away, right? You're at school and you're getting a call that so-and-so is not around, or so-and-so did this, and so-and-so happened this. So those things are definitely, they mess with you when you're away, and, you know, and you know, but getting over that helps you as far as, you know, becoming a man and all that kind of stuff. chill. Growing up, you know, in high school, Hoop Town was the wave, man. Like Hoop Town GTA, man. Shout out to whoever created that too, because it was definitely a wave that we had on there that you can go out there, you know, talking to drunk to other schools and all that kind of stuff. You know, to see your name as, you know, 25-point club, or see your name as a topic, you know, and everyone's kind of just talking about you. You know, it was definitely something that I definitely remember. You know, and yeah, shout out to my little homie Ace. You know, Ace was that kid, man. He was that kid. You know, I remember, you know, just growing up in Ems. Ace was I was actually one of the first. My godmother had bought me a portable net, and you know, we used to always come to my house, in front of my house, and we played, like everybody in the neighborhood played. And then Ace had to one up me and went and got the glass backboard, you know. And once he came with that glass backboard, it was like, yo, pops, you know, your net had a little run, but you know, shout out to Ace, man. Definitely miss him, man. He's definitely, you know, loved and, you know, looking down on all of us right now.
Any shout outs? Anyone special?
Yeah, I definitely want to shout out, you know, everybody who worked at Malvern Rec Center: Ninja, Cheryl, Blue, Snoop, everybody. I know I'm gonna forget names right now, but had all the NBL basketball leagues. Yo, I appreciate it, you know, all that time that you guys definitely did. You know, I definitely appreciate it, because I know that's like time away from you and away from your family. We definitely appreciate it now that I'm older. Shout out, you know, Gally, Richard Gallagher, man. That's been my coach, high school coach. You know, great mentor. Shout him out. Shout out Bob. Shout out the whole Officer 2006 Officer champs, man. Those guys are my brothers for life, man. John Samira, Craig Nelson, Justin Dennis, Chris Hibbert, Adrian Bent, Alex Malari, Big Mo was on there with us, Julian, Joels, shoot, I'm forgetting some names right now, Ryan, Mckeyra. Big shout outs, man, to all you guys, man. Like, you know, like it's we had some times, man. We had some good times together, man, and that's something that I always remember, man. I know if I'm forgetting any other guys' names, man, just make sure, you know, I just